The 90s, where pages were our iPhones, buses did not have aircon, and chicken rice was 150. It was also a pivotal time for Singapore, as we saw the birth of the LRT, a fully autonomous vehicle that was the solution to our traffic woes. In this video, I head out to discover what really happened and give you my take on how did the LRTs lose its relevance. To answer this question, we first have to ask, is the LRT actually effective and reliable?
Whoa. Look at how bumpy these trains are. You see, the Bukit Panjang LRT broke down on its launch.
Delays were set to be up to 40 minutes. SMRT lost $3 million of revenue in the first year of operating the Bukit Panjang LRT. Between 1999 to 2012, there were 150 breakdowns. Commuters complained that the service was inconsistent and overcrowded. However, recently released stats from LTA showed that there were only 15 breakdowns from all three LRT lines from 2020 to 2024.
I wanted to see if LRTs are truly efficient.
My first test, commute time. For this experiment, I'm going to travel from LRT stations 3 stops away to the MRT. So, Segar, Bakau and Coral Edge respectively.
First thing I noticed is that the Punggol LRT seems to be the least crowded among the 3. I was able to board the first train as compared to Sengkang and Bukit Panjang, where I needed to wait for the second train.
And thus, only my Punggol LRT commute was true to time. One of the reasons for this is Punggol's extensive bus system, so more options for commuters and less people take the LRT, making it easier for commuters like me to board it and have a smooth travel. Another observation I made was that the Bukit Panjang LRT only operated in one direction during off-peak hours. This meant that a one-stop ride from Petir to Bukit Panjang, around 5 minutes, became a 7-stop ride, around 18 minutes. Not the most efficient ride for sure.
Besides this occasion, I took the LRT 4 more times that day and found out that when it operated multi-directionally, commute times were true to those on Google Maps.
In terms of reliability, an article by Straits Times stated that all 3 LRT lines dipped in real reliability this year.
The Sengkang Punggol LRT lines posted figures of 814,000 kilometers before failure as compared to 1.22 million km in 2023. As for Bukit Panjang LRT, its mileage before failure dropped from 546,000 to 375,000 kilometers.
One reason for this is that the Sengkang and Punggol LRTs were built in tandem with the town from the outset. This led to a smoother and more pleasant ride experience as tracks were built with more flexibility and intentionality. Unlike Bukit Panjang LRT, where bendy and hilly tracks were built around existing structures. Although I did not experience any breakdowns on my experiment, I spoke to some commuters who shared their views on the LRT's reliability.
So what's your experience on the LRT?
LRT is good, it's easy for me. 早上会呀，你要繁忙的时间会。
One thing that you can improve or change for the LRT?
进步点最好，他做double的啦，可以一次过每个人进去啦。
Maybe make the aircon more serviceable in the morning, especially now it's like super humid and hot. Yeah.
And so I sat down with transport analyst Professor Walter Teixeira to gather his thoughts.
People tend to view the 2 most important attributes of public transport as time and convenience. The thing is, they are convenient if you happen to live very close to the LRT station, or if the station is connected to where you want to go and things like that. But they end up not being so convenient if you're located a bit farther away. And this is where one of the design issues with LRT comes in, which is that they're very inflexible. The time cost for taking the LRT, that is just quite a huge burden on commuters, which is also, I think, why the LRT system is not that well received in some cases by commuters. So, when you want to improve transport services for everybody in Singapore, I do suspect that spending a bit more money on expanding the MRT further and, provisioning more buses, more frequent bus service and so on, that could be a better use of money in many cases than building another LRT line.
I also spoke to Huan Yan, a long-time resident who has taken the Bukit Panjang LRT since it first came out in 1999.
Sometimes I may be a bit irked and irritated by the waiting time. Definitely, I would wish that the LTA actually restore the bi-directional services for all day. I think it would be great if they can push back the closing hours of LRT to maybe 12 AM or 1 AM as what it used to be when it first opened up.
Besides their thoughts, I timed my commute on 5 different occasions and found that train arrival times were accurate and true to time stated on the boards.
The LRT took about 1 minute to come, so that was very good.
I did observe that trains were less frequent during off-peak hours, so every 5 to 7 minutes instead of 2 to 3 minutes. And so as a rule of thumb, I will factor in 10 to 15 minutes extra travel time for non-peak hours.
And so for commute time, I give a 5 out of 5 for Punggol, a 4 out of 5 for Sengkang, and a 3 out of 5 for Bukit Panjang.
As for the LRT's reliability, I'll rate it 4.5 for both Sengkang and Punggol, but for Bukit Panjang, I'll just rate it 2.5.
Let's compare LRTs against other forms of transport. First, we gotta talk about excess penalty. Excess penalty refers to the time taken to ascend or descend the vehicle. Buses have very low excess penalty as commuters at the very most are required to cross an overhead bridge to board the vehicle. LRTs on the other hand have a high excess penalty. Commuters have to cross the overhead bridge, walk to the station, tap in, climb a flight of stairs just to embark the vehicle. Boarding the train is one thing, taking it to the correct destination is another thing in itself. Both Sengkang and Punggol LRTs have east and west loops. Within each of the loops, there is a choice to take the inner or outer loop as well. For a long-time resident in this area, this wouldn't be an issue. Not so for a tourist or first-time user. The design isn't intuitive, even for locals like me.
Hi Celeste!
Hi Marcus.
In this experiment, we will be testing if the LRT
Or the bus
is more efficient. Let's begin!
Walking up the LRT.
Did you have to wait very long for the bus?
Actually not very long, but I was lucky because when I checked it, it was like 2 minutes before, and the next bus is around like 15-13 minutes.
Okay, for us, pretty smooth, yeah, no disruptions, smooth journey.
Yeah, for me it's more of the traffic that held me up. Yeah.
Besides this, I saw on Google Maps that cycling was 50% faster than LRTs in the Bukit Panjang area. I decided to pay a visit to pending LRT and see if this is true.
So for the LRT, I would say that it's more efficient in Bukit Panjang because when I was cycling, I took about 10 minutes. I had to stop here and there to wait for the traffic light, and my colleagues took about 5 minutes for 2 stops. So for Bukit Panjang, I would definitely say that the LRT is more efficient than cycling.
With the walk, cycle, ride movement, the LTA is transforming Singapore into a greener and sustainable transport system through reshaping pavements and building more cyclist and pedestrian lanes. LTA is also seeking to increase 3,000 bicycle lots at MRTs by 2025, as well as providing a grant that will provide workplaces with bicycle parking, showers, and locker facilities to workplaces. All these initiatives mean an increase in cyclists and a decrease in commuters taking the LRT. Building a transport system above ground made sense, but frequent breakdowns and the lack of reliability made it an unsustainable option among Singaporeans. This causes inconvenience for commuters and they pivot to other transport options. At the end of the day, Singapore is blessed with a plethora of transport options. There's no one size fits all, so take your pick.